Report number one by one, part by part, Robert Vadra, you're going to be exposed today on Republic TV. This is part one of the Robert Vadra scam, India's biggest scam.
It's India's biggest scam. Republic gets you the Justice Dhingra report. The report is out. The 124-page report is accessed by Republic. The Republic accesses a report that exposes mind-boggling nepotism and corruption. It exposes the nexus between Robert Vadra and the then Chief Minister of Haryana, Bhupinder Singh Hooda. We bring you a series of reports that highlight the nexus between Vadra and Hooda. Part 1 of the series is now being shown. Page 65 of the Dhingra report clearly pinpoints how Skylight Hospitality, Robert Vadra's firm, was favoured. It says Skylight Hospitality filed an application for commercial colony license for an area of 3.53 acres of village Shikhopur of 10th March 2008. Out of this area, only 1.35 acres of land fell in commercial belt of Sector 83. Point 2 on this, the application for license was liable to be rejected as the minimum area required for obtaining license of a commercial colony was 2 acres within the commercial zone. Instead of rejecting the application, the letter of intent was approved by the Chief Minister. It goes on to say the department, in order to benefit Skylight, changed the sectoral plan of Sector 83 itself and diverted the 24-meter internal road so as to pass outside the land of Skylight Hospitality. This kind of nepotism, this kind of exposure, this kind of nexus seen for the first time. The Dhingra report is out. Republic in part 1 gets you this latest exposes of what's been happening. Part 2 coming up with even more breaking and more details about what Justice Dhingra has said about this nexus.
Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, on page 65 of this report, we see an entire section dedicated to the contentious license number 203, Skylight Hospitality, and I'll highlight it again. In part 1 of this 7-part expose today, Rhythm, we have conclusively established that ex-Haryana Chief Minister Bhupinder Singh Hooda, as Chief Minister of Haryana, Mr. Hooda approved Robert Vadra's land. So that's point number 1, which now becomes established right now. On page 65 of this report, I want to point out 4 things. 1, it says that the application for license, it says the application for license was liable to be rejected as the minimum area required for obtaining license of a commercial colony was 2 acres within the commercial zone. 2, it says that instead of rejecting the application, the letter of intent was approved by the Chief Minister for commercial colony license over an area of 2.71 acres. If I can have those graphics in, 71 acres of land, which included 1.36 acres of land falling on the internal road of the residential area. Point number 3, it says, after issuance of the letter of intent, Skylight Hospitality did not fulfill the conditions required to be fulfilled for the grant of the license. And we are only beginning the exposure of this scam today. 4, and if we can quickly have those graphics on the screen, yes, it says that the department, in order to benefit Skylight Hospitality, changed the sector plan of Sector 83 itself. Now, I have some simple questions here, Rhythm, and those graphics can play out with parts of page 65 of the report. The soonest it's possible, we can put it on air. On page 65, Rhythm, Dhingra notes, while referring to Robert Vadra's Skylight Hospitality license application, that instead of rejecting the application, letter of intent was approved by the Chief Minister for commercial colony license. When the job for approval of licenses lies with the director of the DTCP, why was Robert Vadra's company's letter of intent approved by Hooda himself? Why did Hooda come into this Rhythm? What was Hooda's business?
And that's precisely, Arnab, not only here Several times in this 124-page report, Dhingra report is questioning the role of Huda. Why has he taken over and usurped the power of the Director of Town and Country Planning? Why was he trying to ensure that each and every rule was bent to ensure that Robert Vadra got what he wanted? Robert Vadra Skylight Hospitality, at several other places, we will show the viewers of Republic, got land from A. They got the land and they sold it to B with just rupees 1 lakh as the amount that they had with them. How was this being done if it was not done with nexus, corruption, collusion and conspiracy?
No, Veridam, if I can just point out here, because I know these Vadras and these Gandhis very well, they go into this denial mode, you know. Then they say, oh, you know what, we don't believe it, it's conjecture, you don't have the papers, etc. So, Robert Vadra, you are being exposed live on television right now. You choose, either you want to be the next Karti Chidambaram, or you want to be the next Lalit Modi, or you want to be the next Vijay Mallya. But here's a part of the report, if you can zoom in on it. Viewers, it says Skylight Hospitality. And this is expose 1 today. And where it says is letter of intent was approved by the Chief Minister for a commercial colony license over an area of 2.71 acres, etc. Skylight Hospitality did not fulfill the conditions. It says clearly that Skylight Hospitality did not fulfill the conditions. If I put it like this, then you won't
even
get
have the
it.
requisite 2 acres that was needed for the commercial zone.
So the point here is, and look here, viewers, what happens is, it says on 5th August 2008, Skylight Hospitality entered into a collaboration agreement with DLF retail developers in respect of the same area of land for commercial colony. DLF later filed a fresh application for grant of license. This application was also allowed. So the question here is, on page 65, it says Skylight Hospitality did not fulfill the conditions required for grant of license rhythm. Now let's go back to this. Did not fulfill the conditions for the grant of license. So Huda first issues, look at Huda. Look at how crafty Huda is. Look at how conniving Huda is. Look at what a sycophant and a hypocrite Huda is. Because first he issues a letter of intent, approves it, despite the fact that Vadra does not qualify for a license. And then after issuance of the letter of intent, Vadra doesn't even fulfill the conditions, and yet his letter of intent does not lapse. Why does that happen? And if you had any doubt that Vadra's land was approved by the Congress Chief Minister Huda, allow me to read from you from the last line of page number 65 going on to 66, which says, and can I just bring the attention out here to the viewers? And it starts with this line. The department, in order to benefit Skylight Hospitality, changed the sector plan of Sector 83 itself, which directly establishes that the sector plan, which is sacrosanct, was changed to benefit this is the amazing part.
And Arnab, they diverted the 24-meter internal road. An internal road here that was needed for the residential area. An internal road that was needed for the residents of that internal area. This was an internal road not for the commercial area. It was always counted as a part of the internal area. Yeah. And yet, they got it in the commercial area only for the benefit of one man, Shri Robert Vadra.
So consider the mammoth amount of corruption going on here as we sum up the Vadra-Huda link to this deal. Vadra does not qualify for the license and still is entertained by the Chief Minister. That's point number 1. And I can say this over pictures of Vadra. The Chief Minister himself is not supposed to hand out licenses, but yet he intervenes in Vadra's case and approves the letter of intent in the case of Skylight. Vadra continues to not fulfill the conditions post the issuance of the license. Still his letter of intent doesn't lapse, despite the law saying it must lapse in 60 days if the conditions aren't fulfilled. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, according to this report, the story in part 1 isn't just that the Huda government approved the land deal, but it is also that the department, in order to benefit Skylight Hospitality, changed the sector plan of Sector 83 itself. Sector 83 being where Robert Vadra's allegedly mystic dealings happen.